Greetings, kindred friend. The Buddha once left a profound and miraculous teaching. The mind precedes all things. You are what you think. Recall those sleepless nights, lying still in a distant land, eyes staring at the ceiling in the silence of the dark, when the ticking of the clock sounds like the racing pulse of anxiety in your chest. You worry about your fading health, fret over the future of your children, and fear the uncertain upheavals of life. We often spend an entire lifetime trying to arrange and fix the external world, but the wisdom of mindfulness illuminates a waking truth. It is not always the circumstances that pull you down, but the violent waves within your own mind. The world out there is not the true battlefield. The greatest and fiercest battlefield lies right within your own thoughts. But my kindred friend, perceive this. Peace is not a future gift for you to restlessly chase. Peace is actually an ever-present harbor, merely waiting for you to have the courage to let go and return. Tonight, at this very moment, is the time for that sacred return. Join me on a transformative journey to find the light of inner stillness. Lesson 1. Thoughts are not the truth. Do you realize that at this very moment, our mind is like a tireless storyteller? In the wisdom of the Buddha, this state is called the monkey mind, a mind that is always jumping and unsettled, like a monkey swinging from branch to branch. It constantly weaves scenarios full of fear. What if I fall ill? My children don't seem to need me anymore, or I should have been more successful at this age. We spend most of our life force believing every news report that the radio station of the mind broadcasts. But kindred friend, pause for a beat to touch a liberating truth. Your thoughts are never the self-evident truth. They are merely old habits, vasanas that have been repeated for a long time. To untie this bond, I invite you to change your position. Do not be the character in the movie of anxiety anymore. Become the silent spectator sitting and observing. Contemplate this great metaphor. Your true essence is the vast, silent, and uninjured blue sky. And those flows of anxious thoughts? They are merely clouds passing across your sky. Clouds may be pitch black or as turbulent as a storm, but look closely. Clouds can never stain the sky, and clouds have never had roots. They come and they must go according to the law of impermanence. Now, perform a small practice with me to take refuge in that sky essence. Breathe in very slowly for 5 seconds. Feel the warmth of life. Then breathe out very gently for 5 seconds. Whenever an anxious thought arises and makes your shoulders heavy, smile softly and give it a leisurely label. This is just a thought. Just by doing that, you will suddenly find yourself larger than all your problems, because you are the sky. The clouds are just temporary moods passing through. Lesson 2. The present is the only safe harbor. Try to place your attention on the restless feeling simmering inside you right now. Do you realize that most of our anxiety is actually a hopeless journey into the future? Your mind is busy playing a melancholy prophet, trying to solve problems that have not yet arisen, and preparing for scenarios that may never happen. We are tired, not because reality is too harsh, but because we are trying to carry the weight of a tomorrow that is not yet formed. In the wisdom of the Buddha, the future is only an illusion woven from memory and fear. The only true home where you can reside, where the storms of thought cannot reach, is this very moment. I invite you to perform an anchoring gesture for the soul. Feel the contact of your hands on your thighs, or the weight of your body leaning against the chair. Take a very soft breath and ask your heart with the utmost sincerity. At this moment, what is actually happening? If you observe closely, you will see that right here, The breath is still steadily nourishing every cell. Right here, you are still safe under your roof in this distant land. All ghosts of instability vanish when you courageously return to take refuge in the body and sensations. Your nervous system does not need a guaranteed future to be calm. It only needs you to be fully present in the now, to realize, right now, you are okay. Etch this reminder to free yourself from the pressure of perfectionism. You don't need to find the next 5 steps for your life. You only need to take the one next breath. When you shrink the world down to the size of a single breath, the 1,000-pound burden of the future will automatically drop. You are no longer a victim of time, but the master of the life pulsing right beneath your chest. Tonight, allow yourself to rest in this safe harbor, because the present is the most sacred gift you possess. Lesson 3. Master your reaction, not your life. Kindred friend, take a moment to look back at the long journey you have traveled. Have we not been silently playing the role of a demanding director for our own lives? We want every result to be predicted. We want our children to live exactly as we wish. And we want our health to be as intact as in our youth. We crave certainty as a sedative for fear. However, Buddhist wisdom reminds us of a stark truth. This world is inherently an uncertain flow, and the effort to control external circumstances is actually an illusion that erodes your life force. Look at your hands and imagine you are trying to hold a handful of dry sand. The tighter you squeeze, the faster the grains of sand find a way to escape through your fingers. Over-control is the same. It does not bring safety. It only brings rigidity to the soul and exhaustion to the nervous system. Instead of wasting strength to bend the world out there, a futile task, the Buddha invites you to reclaim that power for the kingdom of your own interior. You cannot control the direction of the wind, but you have the absolute right to control the sail of consciousness. True self-mastery does not lie in changing circumstances, but in the quality of your reaction to those circumstances. In Buddhism, this is the state of equanimity, upeksha, calmness amidst myriad changes. Equanimity is not cold indifference, but a profound steadiness. It is when you face a harsh criticism, a broken plan, or an undesirable test result with a composed mindset. You understand that reality may not please you, but nothing can strip away the power to choose your inner peace. Etch this powerful affirmation as an anchor. You can't control the storm, but you can stand calmly in the rain. Now, I invite you to practice this calmness for 10 brief seconds. Take a deep breath. Imagine current disturbances are like raindrops falling on your shoulders. Do not chase them away. Do not strain. Just let the rain fall while you breathe leisurely. Feel the warmth and stability from deep inside your spine. When you master your reaction, the world is no longer a threat, but becomes a playground for you to train your own wisdom and tolerance. Lesson 4. Suffering is the material that builds inner strength. Kindred friend, I want to take a moment to bow in respect to the journey you have walked. Throughout more than 60 years of human life, you surely have faced heartbreaking losses, bitter stumbles in foreign lands, or long, lonely nights when it seemed no one understood. We often look back at those wounds with resentment, seeing them as mistakes of fate or sad chapters we wish to erase. But the wisdom of mindfulness sees a solemn beauty hidden behind those pains. Contemplate the metaphor of a tiny seed buried deep under the dark and cold soil. To stretch up and greet the radiant sun, that seed must endure immense pressure from Mother Earth. It is that suffocating pressure, that oppression of the dark, that is powerful enough to crack the rigid shell, allowing the green sprout of life essence to rise. If life were only warm sun and silk, the seed would forever remain just a seed lying still in a dream. Suffering, therefore, is a sacred pressure for your true essence to sprout. In the teachings of the Buddha, this is the miraculous journey of turning poison into medicine. Pain is not the endpoint. It is the raw material for you to knead into patience, composure, and tolerant wisdom. When you have passed through the pain of loss, your heart becomes larger to empathize with the pain of humanity. When you have faced the decline of health, your soul learns how to be leisurely and free, transcending the bonds of the physical body. Etch this powerful affirmation as an anchor. Whenever your heart frets over a hard past, your worst days built your strength. Every wrinkle at the corner of your eyes, every age spot on your hands are vivid scriptures of resilience. Do not hate the scars in your heart, for they are the evidence that you are a silent warrior who has triumphed over the storms of life. Tonight, learn to reconcile with the past. Be grateful for the darkness of the deep soil that tempered the bright lamp of wisdom inside you now. You are not damaged. You are becoming steadier than ever. Lesson 5. The power of non-reaction. Quietly contemplate the image of a still lake in the early morning in a distant land. When a small pebble is thrown, the lake only ripples slightly, and then very quickly, it settles itself and swallows the pebble into the ocean depths. The lake does not struggle to push the pebble out, nor does it waste strength arguing with the impact. In the wisdom of mindfulness, the greatest strength of a spiritually mature person lies not in sharp retorts, but in the ability to not react. Kindred friend, most of us live like pre-programmed machines. When a criticism touches our self-esteem, we immediately prickle up like a porcupine to protect ourselves. When encountering a traffic incident on a busy street or a clumsy mistake of our own, our mind immediately rings an alarm. We assume that every impact from the world requires a response. However, it is this habit of rapid reaction that is silently eroding your life essence and muddying the atmosphere of peace within you. I want to invite you to practice a sacred art, the 3-second ritual of silence. Next time, when you face an unpleasant word from a loved one or an undesirable event, please do not hurry to speak. Spend exactly 3 seconds to take a deep breath. That silence is the precious buffer zone for you to regain your internal sovereignty. In those 3 seconds, you are no longer a victim of circumstances. You become the presiding master of yourself. You realize that the harsh voice inside is trying to urge you to be angry, to be resentful, but you have the right to choose another path. Etch this noble affirmation into your heart. Not everything deserves a reaction. When you do not react, you are not weak. On the contrary, you are standing in the position of an elder. You understand that your life essence is priceless, and you will not waste it on fleeting disturbances. Let your mind be as vast as a deep lake, receiving all changes but letting nothing take away your original composure. True healing begins when you realize you do not owe the world any response for their pettiness or temper. Tonight, allow yourself to rest in that powerful silence. You don't need to win every argument. You only need to maintain the serenity in your soul. That is the pinnacle of freedom. Lesson 6. Repositioning adversity. When the obstacle is the way. Imagine you are a traveler, leisurely walking in a silent primary forest. You are enjoying the fresh air until a dense thicket of thorns or an ancient fallen tree blocks your only path. At that moment, a feeling of helplessness arises, and you think, "This is it. The road is closed." Kindred friend, the greatest tragedy of human consciousness is that we frequently see obstacles and mistake them for the endpoint. When facing an illness, a rift in the family, or difficulties arriving in old age, we easily fall into a victim mindset. We blame circumstances for hindering our peace, without realizing that the very wall blocking the way is a sacred invitation to explore a new, deeper path. In Buddhist wisdom, an obstacle is never the enemy of practice. It is the silent guide. Return to the image of the traveler in the forest. Precisely because the fallen tree blocked the old path, he was forced to turn in another direction, and thus he happened to find a cool stream or a precious flower that he would have forever forgotten if he had followed the old track. Adversity operates the same way. It blocks the old lifestyle and old habits to force you to sprout new capacities, patience you never had, wisdom you never touched, and an inner strength you never believed you possessed. I invite you to practice an art of cognitive transformation whenever you face difficulty. Instead of asking your heart a resentful question, "Why is this happening to me?" Take a deep breath, smile tolerantly, and softly ask, "What is this trying to teach me?" Just by changing the question, the lens of your soul is immediately altered. You no longer see a towering wall. You begin to see an opportunity to transform poison into medicine. Physical pain may be teaching you how to cherish every moment of alertness. Loneliness may be teaching you how to rely on your own internal lamp. When you look through the harsh shell of the problem, you will see the seed of liberation already lying within it. Remember, all adversity in this world is impermanent. It cannot stand still forever to hinder you. A problem can only imprison you when you view it as an eternal block of stone. But when you view it as a temporary teacher, it will automatically complete its mission and vanish like thin smoke. Etch this wise reminder as your baggage. Every problem contains its own solution. Tonight, try to reconcile with the undesirable things in your life. Do not try to use force to break down the wall of obstacles. Stand still quietly. Observe it with the eyes of learning. You will see a new turn opening up, leading you to a land of steadiness and serenity that you have never known before. Lesson 7. Faith, the lamp that lights uncertainty. Contemplate with me the image of a small oil lamp in the heart of a dark night forest in a distant land. That lamp cannot dispel all the darkness of the great forest, nor does it help you see the road 10 miles ahead. However, it clearly lights every step you are taking right now. And that is enough for you to go through an entire ancient forest. Kindred friend, in the final lesson of the journey to release anxiety, I want to light that lamp within you. It is the power of faith. We often live in fear because our mind always tries to project gloomy scenarios into the vacuum of uncertainty. When we do not know for sure what health will be like tomorrow, how the children will be, or how the world will change, the mind immediately fills that gap with ghosts of anxiety. Fear, therefore, is actually the absence of faith in the flow of life. I want you to redefine faith with a completely new lens. Faith in Buddhist wisdom is not blind, clinging to a supernatural power to beg for protection. True faith is a mindful entrustment. It is a deep trust in your own pure essence and the law of cause and effect of the universe. Take a moment of stillness to look back at the journey of over 60 years of life that you have courageously walked. Do you remember the first days you set foot in this distant land, amidst the cold winter and language barriers that seemed insurmountable? Do you remember the narrow turns when all hope seemed to have faded? Yet, at this very moment, you were still sitting here, breathing, and listening to these words. The very fact of your survival in the past is the most eloquent evidence of the protection of causes and conditions. You have passed through 100% of the worst days of your life. So why now do you let fear deceive you into thinking you will collapse before the future? Let the memory of your own resilience nourish a new faith that life has supported you this far. Surely, life will have a way to lead you further. Beside you, there is also the wisdom of masters and the community of companions who have walked this path for thousands of years. They also once feared, once wavered, but they found liberation right in sacred entrustment. You are not alone in this ocean of uncertainty. And do not forget, the impermanence we always fear is actually the greatest ally of faith. Because everything changes, this anxiety also cannot exist forever. Because everything shifts. After a long night, there will surely be a radiant dawn. To nourish the lamp of faith every day, I invite you to return to practice with mindful breathing. Each inhalation, feel as if you are receiving the energy of trust from the universe. Each exhalation, let doubt and fear melt into the void. The breath is the most faithful promise life has for you. As long as the breath is there, you are still being protected. Etch this solemn affirmation to lead your soul. Faith is the light in uncertainty. When you light your own faith, you will realize a miracle. Uncertainty is no longer a terrifying abyss, but becomes a vast space of new possibilities. You no longer demand life. Give you a guarantee, because faith itself is the sturdiest guarantee. Tonight, allow yourself to rest in that great entrustment. Let the lamp in your heart shine, silent but persistent, warming yourself and illuminating those around you. Kindred friend, let your mind now quietly return to a wonderful silence, like a boat that has reached a peaceful harbor after a distant voyage through the storms of anxiety. We have walked together through 7 paths of wisdom, from recognizing thoughts as mere illusions, taking refuge in the present harbor, mastering reactions instead of controlling life, to lighting the radiant lamp of faith in the midst of the world's uncertainty. You see, true peace is not built by destroying the disturbances out there, but by recalibrating the lens inside consciousness. When you stop identifying yourself with the storms of thought, when you dare to step aside to let life operate according to its own rhythm, you will be amazed to realize the life essence in you remains whole, pure, and uninjured. Etch this final affirmation to lead the upcoming journey. Worry may still come, but it no longer needs to stay. The journey of awakening does not require you to become perfect immediately. Do not create more pressure for yourself. Whenever you find your heart surging in a distant land, just a slow breath, a moment of pause, or a tolerant smile for reality, you have officially returned to your free essence. If today's conversation brought even a little light to your heart, I invite you to share the lesson that made your mind feel most calmed in the comments. Do not forget to subscribe to the channel so we can remain companions on this path of awakening. Wishing you a life of leisure, a body always at peace, and a mind always in joy. Goodbye, and see you again.